The Browns have now completed the first part of their offseason program under Todd Monken. Earlier in the show, we talked about some of the standouts, some of the differences between what Todd Monken did in this period versus how Kevin Stefanski handled it. And we figured we'd save the quarterback discussion for the YouTube chat and the YouTube audience, because who doesn't love a good quarterback conversation? Todd Monken was asked about the progression that both Shedeur and Deshaun made throughout OTAs and minicamp, and where they still need to improve moving forward. So let's see what Todd Monken had to say about each of the quarterbacks. This is Todd on Deshaun Watson. Quote, "I think he's excited to play again and to play at a high level. You know, he puts a lot of pressure on himself. So when he's not right or he makes a mistake, he's great at owning it. But it's okay. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. You're not going to play flawless. It's okay. Just go to the next play, go to the next play. And I think things you don't see out here, you do a little bit. I think he plays with his feet. So that's going to be a huge weapon for him. It has been in his career, and as long as he's healthy, it will continue to be a weapon for him." Todd was then asked about Shedeur Sanders and his progression. This is what Todd Monken had to say about the Browns' second-year quarterback. Todd said, quote, "Well, I just think he's doing a better job. I think he's being more decisive. Now, it's easy to say we're not in pads. It just feels like he's making quicker decisions. The ball's coming out of his hands, which he's going to have to do. Not that he doesn't have playmaking ability, because he does, but his ability to process quicker and get the ball out of his hands and eliminate lost yardage plays is going to be huge for us to be able to stack plays and score, which is ultimately the number one thing here." Zach, you were at the press conference where Todd Monken said both of those things. What was your kind of big takeaway from Todd's evaluation of the quarterbacks at this point to where they need to get to moving forward?
Yeah, I think we'll start with Shedeur. I think, in fairness, right, like the number one knock on him is he holds the ball too long. He did in college. He admitted it. He came in as a rookie. He did. I think that was a real point of emphasis. I think you watched Shedeur over the last couple of weeks of the offseason versus the first few weeks. You saw notable emphasis on get rid of the ball, on Shedeur lining up his feet and getting his shoulders and eyes in the right place to get rid of it. So they weren't all perfect, but when Shedeur's going, he's accurate. And when Shedeur's going, his body language shows it. And what I saw over 2 of the days at minicamp and a little bit in the last OTA, what Shedeur was feeling. He was getting more comfortable out there. So when he came up and did his media, he wasn't going to give any details on where he really thought. He was going to answer. He had made up his mind how he was going to answer those questions regardless of how it was asked. But just watching him on the field now complete his second part of the offseason, I think when I stand there and watch Shedeur, I know when he thinks he's playing well. In 3 of the last 4 days, I think Shedeur thought that he was playing well.
What I want to see is, and I think Todd Monken said it, is the progression, right? What I would like to see from young players is starting here and going on an upward trajectory. It doesn't have to be major leaps. It's, okay, we put something in, the motion plays, we want to stack guys. Do we have any penalties? Can you get everybody out there and the motion stuff doesn't trigger any penalties? We like that. Continue to go. The next day, they said, okay, we're going to work on making sure your feet is in the right position. So you go out there. It may not look crazy. It might not look like you're the greatest quarterback of all time, but you still see the progression. I want to see the trajectory go this way so that there are times where it doesn't look like anything is happening, doesn't look like there's any crazy progress. But when you stack those days together and you continue to get better and better and better, there is sometimes when you get to camp, there's the jump where you say, oh, wow, he looked really good today. And it's just not about what you did today. It's all about those little steps that you take when nobody's watching. So for me, I think this is one of the most pivotal times in the world for Shedeur Sanders as well as Deshaun Watson. You got about 6 weeks. What are you going to do in those 6 weeks? Yeah. Because you got to stack days together so that when you can come back in camp, the playbook is down, you know what it is, the installation is ready to go, you know the motions, and now you can just go out there and play fast and play. So I think this is going to be pivotal for him. For Deshaun Watson, for him, he said something, I just want to make sure I can be out there 17 games. Trusting your body, getting your body back. You made it through this minicamp situation. Now, let's get ready to ramp it up a little bit because now you're going to start to be with the pads and the speed of the game. So for me, it's out processing, speed of the game. Can I get through that and can I play every single day? Because the thing I want to see is When you're in a competition, we saw this with Kenny Pickett last year. He was the quarterback moving into, and then all of a sudden he had the hamstring. And he never got back after that. So for Deshaun Watson, taking care of your body, making sure you're going out there and putting these things together and making sure you're available to still compete.
Yeah, we'll start with Shedeur, then we'll get to Deshaun. And we put the Shedeur quote again, Todd Monken on Shedeur, because when I was listening to the press conference yesterday, I was like, it sounds familiar. Like, why does this sound familiar? I don't think Todd Monken's ever talked about that before. And then, when you get to the part where he said he has the playmaking ability, but he has to process quicker, get the ball out of his hands quicker, eliminate lost yardage. That's what Jason told us last year, right? That's basically what Jason said he was hearing from inside the building as to the things Shedeur needed to work on. So to hear Todd say that kind of confirmed that, okay, it adds up, right? And that's not uncommon for a young player. It's not uncommon for a young quarterback who's learning a completely new system, the speed of the game, and now knows exactly what he has to kind of figure out and fix to get to the point he wants to get to, which is being named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2026. My question for you guys is, and I never played quarterback, so I'm genuinely curious. There are certain things in sports you can fix and you can't. If you're short, you can't just become tall, right? If you don't have a cannon, it's really hard to develop the arm strength to go from a mediocre arm to a really good arm. Is processing something that can be corrected with more reps, with more familiarity, with more understanding of what the offense is trying to accomplish? Or is that processing chip in your head something that you're kind of inherently born with and have versus don't have? I'm just curious what you guys think on that. I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer. I'm just asking the question.
I think, like anything, I think certain people have a certain baseline skill set where things could be a little bit easier for you. So say, for instance, as an athlete, I'll give you an example with basketball. Some people are natural shooters,
Yep.
right? Some people are able, even though, their mechanics may look wonky, the ball goes in. Mm-hmm. Some people have a really nice jump shot, have a really nice form,
and are broke.
And they just missing shots. So, yes, there's a baseline where, hey, listen, I'm a little better at this and naturally, but I also have to work on it. I also think it plays a role in, it's easier for someone who's played 7 starts to think about it in terms of the progression of getting faster with the understanding reads as you get more comfortable and as you get more reps. The reps come. I do think that there is a diminishing returns once you get to a certain age or a certain skill level or wherever you at in your career, if you're a veteran, where you can see major leaps in some of those baseline things, because after a point, you are who you are.
And you should take your biggest jump from rookie to second season. We talk about it all the time, not just at the quarterback position, but Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, all the guys who were great as rookies in 2025. The reason we're so excited for them moving forward is they're not finished products, right? Yeah. They're going to get better as they go on. But Zach, I'm curious your thoughts on the development in terms of progression and how a quarterback or how that goes from one year to the next.
I think with Shedeur, it was like, hey, we would love to score 70-yard touchdowns every play, but we don't need to. Right? On this one, we're either going here or here. So align your feet and your shoulders and your thinking from the start that we're going here or here, not looking here and then fading away. I think one of the things he was doing last year, because he was holding the ball too long and getting hit too much, is he was fading out of even the simple ones, even when his eyes and shoulders were locked in the right place. So it's just getting more comfortable with what you're looking at, right? And we want to go here, and if they take that away, we're going here. We're not necessarily trying to hit everything down the field and then throwing out of whack or running out of whack. So Deshaun's one way to win this job is his athleticism. Monken installs a system, a Lamar Jackson-based system. I hate to use that word because there's only one of him, right? But we saw in minicamp and OTAs, we saw some days that Deshaun Watson ran design keepers where he ran zone read. Shedeur is not going to do that. And they ran through those plays in minicamp, and Shedeur did not look at all comfortable with those. But that, to me, just reinforces the one way that Deshaun wins that is that kind of offense. Deshaun as a thrower is not good enough. Deshaun as a processor is not good enough. And over the course of the spring, even the throws that he hit that you're like, okay, the next time he missed guys by 5 yards. He throws too many interceptions. He's not accurate enough. If Shedeur Sanders masters the offense and learns to do a better job of taking the simple ones, he's getting everybody in the right place, then he's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, one thing that when Shedeur is on, he's accurate. And
incredibly accurate.
When he's cooking, he's accurate. The thing that all coaches want to see is, can I minimize the negative plays and maximize the wild plays? And there are times when, and me and Tyvis watched all 22. There are times where Shedeur has the layups, what I would call, but he's a big game hunter. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He a big game hunter. He looking for the whale. Right.
And sometimes you got to reel it in.
Sometimes go ahead and listen. Take that little trout over there. Take that little bass over there. And give your guys an opportunity. And I think he got more comfortable as that went on, because you started to see some of his playmakers like Judkins and Phantom be out. Sometimes it's okay to hit somebody in the flat and let Quinshawn make a move. You know what I mean? So those are the things that you want to see in the progression, and I think that those are the things that are going to help him win the job if he's able to do it.
I've told you I played 1 year of football, so I don't have the football, and it was terrible. I played left tackle in second grade. I blocked for Noshawn Moreno and Donald Brown, 2 future running backs, and they ran to the opposite side of me on the line every time. So my football knowledge, or my football experience, it doesn't exist. But I can give you a kind of a basketball experience, talking to what your point there is, G. And I'm curious if Shedeur felt this in his minimal opportunities last season. But if you come off the bench, right? And I'll use myself for an example. So junior year, I started 4 games in 4 years. I was a mediocre D3 basketball player. But you come off the bench and you know you got a 3-minute stint. You want to make the most of that 3-minute stint. And you come in and it's like, if I catch it, I got to shoot it. I got to make these shots. I got to make the extra pass, the wow pass to show coach, hey, I should be playing more. And sometimes you press in those little instances because you're trying to make something happen, as opposed to letting the game come to you. And it took me until, really my senior year to realize there's only so much I can do in 3 minutes anyway. Let the game come to you. If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But more often than not, trying to press and try to make something that's not there is going to end in a negative result, and that's going to make it harder for coach to trust me, put me back in. I wonder if Shedeur, with the mindset of I got to make the big play happen time and time again, comes from the fact he knew, hey, there's no guarantee I'm starting again.
Man.
Kevin Stefanski said if Dylan Gabriel clears concussion protocol, he's going to be the starter. So Shedeur comes in and says, I got to play, so I got to prove, so I got to do something that they haven't seen before, so they can't take me back out. And I wonder now, with a little more stability possibly going in this quarterback battle, knowing it's a true competition as opposed to what Kevin said last year, where it was a competition that we knew was never a real competition, how that kind of, I need to grab it by the horns and take it, as opposed to letting the game come to me mentality impacted what we saw and will impact what we see moving forward. Does that make sense?
That's a great point, because if we take it back a little bit and look at the context. I believe after he played against Baltimore, Kevin Stefanski, they asked him, hey, if Dylan Gabriel passes concussion protocol, is he coming? He's like, he's the starter. He said that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Then you also have to take in context that behind the scenes, they were already working on Deshaun Watson coming back, opening it up for those practice days. So if you're Shedeur Sanders and you're a 5th-round pick, most likely at that point you started off 4th on the depth chart. You look at the things that had to happen for him to even to play. You had to have Kenny Pickett get moved. You had to have Joe Flacco get moved in the division. You had to have Dylan Gabriel, who unfortunately got an injury. He had his opportunity. So he'd go out against the Raiders and is like, I got to figure something out. And I got to do some things. And so he did. He played well enough. He got the win right there. But I think that does play a role in it, because you're trying to put numbers on the board. You're trying to do some things to show that you have the ability. And I think if you look at it, he did a good enough job of putting himself in a position, playing well enough to get this opportunity. So it's levels to it. Like, you got an opportunity, what do you do with it? Capitalize. Play well enough. Now you got another opportunity this year, another audition. So I think that does play a role in how people go out and put pressure on themselves.
His way to win the job is to excel in the simple plays. And you're right, he should have a better opportunity to do it. He should have more opportunities to that, but that's what he's got to do. Of course you want to hit the big one, and when it's there, you better hit it.
Right.
But like on a down in, down out basis, on a practice 3 to practice 6 basis, Shedeur has to be accurate and has to be decisive on the simple plays. Then he'll win the job if he is.
It is keeping the chains moving and staying ahead of the sticks.
That's everything.
Is such an important part of football that gets diminished because 2nd and 8 versus 2nd and 10 feels minuscule, but it makes 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4. You go from third and short to third and medium. You go from third and medium to third and long. And by taking some of those simple plays, some of the plays that are just there, and the one play that sticks out from Shedeur last year was in that Ravens game. And I'm not even saying this as a negative, but when he threw it up to Gage Laverdin.
And he was open, too.
No. I mean, he threw it to Gage. It was a good throw.
Good throw.
But Jerry Jeudy on that out route was right
open
there. And once again, we talked about Denzel Boston earlier in the show. You throw up to Denzel Boston, I feel a lot better than throwing up to Gage Laverdin in that situation. But he had the underneath out route to Jerry Jeudy wide open. If he takes that play, who knows how the game ends. I'm not saying they win the game. It changes the whole trajectory. I'm just saying opportunities like that to keep the sticks moving, taking the simple plays that may be there for Shedeur to make, could open up all those deep passes, all those other things that we know he loves to do and has shown the propensity to do well. It makes them more viable and makes them more valuable because you're not needing those to bail you out of bad offensive situations.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to take this as a sign of growth. This was Tuesday, which was the most extensive competitive minicamp day. Shedeur threw a couple deep ones, and Boston caught them, but they were bad throws. Watson came in, threw a deep one, threw it okay. Shedeur threw a couple medium ones, okay. We got to later in practice. Shedeur had completed several in a row, and he threw what looked from the sideline like a simple 6-yard pass over the middle. And you know what he did, Garrett? He celebrated like crazy on this pass. And I stopped for a second, and I thought, you know what? He must have got coached between drills. And instead of chucking that ball deep, this is where he's supposed to go. It was a short pass. It was on the money. He knew, like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just really wanted to throw to Blake Whitehart on that play.
That's the one. That's the one where he kind of caught it, and it was over the middle a little bit.
It was over the middle. It was a very simple 6-yard in route.
Yeah,
and Shedeur was strumming the guitar and dancing around and high-fiving everybody in sight. And I thought, that I'm going to read that is between segments. He was told on this play, you take this instead of chucking it down the field and hanging it up.
If you can move the chains, if you can move the sticks, and keep drives alive. We watch those watch parties where we sit here and say, all you need is 3 on this play. Give me 3.
Just 3.
Give me 3. It sets us up better. And if they can eliminate the penalties and move the sticks, I think they have a shot to be competitive in a lot of these games.